Chapter 17: Reality and Illusion. The tension between New Dawn and the CRF had simmered into a palpable threat, a daily reminder of the delicate balance they maintained. The skies of Proxima b were no longer just a canvas for the stars, but a backdrop to strategic maneuvers. The CRF, with their aggressive expansion, had now set their sights on one of New Dawn's most critical resources: the river that flowed through the territory, vital for their water supply and hydroponics. In the confines of the CRF's command center, General Anton Petrov sat with his strategists, maps and holographic displays casting a cold blue light over their faces.
"We need control over their water supply,"
Petrov declared, his voice cold and calculated. The operation was planned with military precision. Heavy machinery was dispatched to the river's source, where the terrain would allow for the construction of a dam that could easily divert or block the water flow to New Dawn. The river, a lifeline for the colony, was about to become a choke point in their ongoing conflict. Back in New Dawn, the news of the CRF's plan was intercepted through their surveillance efforts. Ilara Vance called an urgent meeting, her face set with determination.
"They're going to dam our river. We can't let this happen."
Elias Chen, already anticipating such a move, had a counter-strategy in mind.
"It's time for our thought engineers to shine. We'll use their abilities not for direct combat, but to create a deterrent."
The thought engineers, led by Nia Patel, gathered in a secluded area where they could focus their energies. Nia, with her burgeoning psychic abilities, had become the de facto leader of this group.
"We'll recreate the beast,"
she proposed. The plan was bold, relying on the psychological impact rather than physical force. They had practiced creating illusions, manipulating light and sound to mimic creatures or events. But this would be their first real test outside controlled conditions. They gathered around, hands linked, focusing their collective mental energies on the image of the creature from their nightmares, a grotesque amalgamation of limbs and eyes, its presence once a source of terror. Under the cover of twilight, as the CRF engineers began setting up the preliminary structures for the dam, the thought engineers worked their magic. The air around the construction site began to shimmer, the light bending in unnatural ways. Slowly, the beast emerged from the shadows, its form a perfect illusion, terrifying in its detail. It moved with a predatory grace, the ground seeming to tremble under its imagined weight. The CRF workers, initially dismissing it as a trick of the light, soon realized the horror that emerged before them. Panic spread like wildfire. Some ran, others froze in terror, and a few brave or foolish souls attempted to confront the creature. But they soon realized they were overpowered by a beast who could see in all directions and attack with a dozen tentacles. What was meant to be a deterrent turned into disaster. The beast, fueled by the collective fear and perhaps the unique properties of Proxima b, began to interact with the physical world. It lashed out, its claws, though an illusion, slicing through the air with enough force to cause real harm. In the chaos, 3 CRF colonists were fatally injured, their screams echoing through the night, a chilling testament to the power of the mind on this alien world. The thought engineers, witnessing the unintended consequences, were horrified. Nia, her eyes wide with shock, called for them to cease their focus. The beast faded, leaving behind a scene of destruction and confusion. The CRF engineers, now in disarray, abandoned the dam site, retreating back to their base. Back in New Dawn, the thought engineers gathered in silence, the weight of what had happened pressing down on them. Nia spoke first, her voice trembling.
"It was supposed to be an illusion. How did it become real?"
Adrian Locke, who had been monitoring their efforts from afar, joined them.
This planet, it's not like Earth. We've seen how it can react to our thoughts, our fears. Maybe the collective psyche of both our groups, combined with the alien technology, somehow manifested that illusion into reality.
Elias, who had watched the event unfold through a drone feed, was equally troubled.
This changes everything. Our advantage might be more potent, but also far more dangerous than we thought. We need to understand the mechanisms behind this before we can use it again.
The discussion turned to theories about the planet's environment, the alien technology they had barely begun to understand, and the psychological state of all involved. Could their collective fear have acted as a catalyst? Was there a threshold where thought could transcend into physical reality? These questions filled the room with a sense of awe and dread. Ilara, usually the pillar of calm, was visibly shaken.
We need to be careful. We can't wield this power without control. We've just shown how a weapon meant to scare can kill.
The thought engineers, once proud of their abilities, now faced a moral and practical dilemma. They had to learn to control not just their powers, but the very reality they could influence. Training would need to be more rigorous, focused on understanding the limits and ethics of their abilities. Meanwhile, the CRF, dealing with the aftermath, was in turmoil. General Petrov, now faced with the reality of an enemy with unknown capabilities, was forced to reconsider his strategy. The dam project was put on hold, but the incident only hardened his resolve to uncover and neutralize New Dawn's secret weapon. As night fell over New Dawn, the stars above seemed to watch with a silent judgment. The colonists, while relieved the immediate threat to their water supply was averted, were left with a profound realization. Their minds, their fears, their hopes could shape this world in ways they were only beginning to comprehend. The thought engineers, now with a heavier mantle of responsibility, committed to further study, to understand the dance between thought and reality on Proxima b. They knew that their next use of such power would need to be with far greater caution, for in this new dawn, the line between illusion and reality was as thin as the violet light of their alien sun.